Okay, so late yesterday, I still hadn't gotten anything from Daz to keep. Let's go down here. We got these punch cards going. Okay, and I had one from the day before, so I wanted to make sure that I had one for yesterday. And it was starting to get late, and I still hadn't picked anything out, working away on animations. And then throughout the day, while I was like rendering or simulating or something like that, I had this thing open, review all artist items, and one of the artists in there was Sixus1, and I came across this fella that's really quite cool. It's a poser figure, pretty scary looking, but really, really cool looking. And he comes with some armor and some weapons, and he has different features. But anyway, I ended up grabbing this fella, and right now, oh, it just finished rendering. Okay, so I brought him into Daz Studio in the content library. These are the poses. I installed it to my poser runtimes because that's the way he's treated as far as how he installs. He's got the runtime libraries character, which leads to figures, and so you find him that way. And so those types of figures, I generally install to specific. I'll show you. See if we go to my poser formats. I've got this is where they go if it's just uh, installed through the regular DAZ 3D library. But then we've got animals, dragons, environs, kids, M4. So I can sort my poser installs into separate categories. I started doing that with for Carrera, and it's still very handy, so I keep it that way. So I put Sledge in animals, and you can find them in figures, and then we've got some props for Sledge. It's all very easily findable in here. Unlike some uh poser stuff can be really quite finicky on trying to find it. Anyway, I took he happens to come with a walk cycle. It comes in two parts. Okay, so we've got these are two-part poses. These aren't animation. These are just poses where you've got friend one for Sledge, friend one for Victoria 4, friend two for Sledge, and so on and so forth. There's friend, there's prop poses, and then there's victim poses. And then there's these standard poses where there's the default hulking over. But these last two down here, there's the walk cycle for the lower body, and then there's the walk cycle for the upper body. And so I went ahead and loaded that in, and it's a pretty short thing. I'll show you. It's a little over 30 frames. Would come to 39 frames, 38 or 39 frames. And so I made an anti-block and put that in there, baked it to the timeline, and then I just he has very basic uh morph controls for his face. So, like I teach with my dynamic animation course, I'm going to, add a bunch of other dials to this guy to help with you know, dealing with him during an animation. But so this is the little animation that I made, and I started recording this while it was still rendering, but I had it set to render very quickly. You have 150 iterations, and then I just turn the filter on, and he's just using one of Joe LaGecko's Photo Shoot 2 HDRI backgrounds. Let's see what he looks like. See, that's Rosie. Come to put him in monsters. I did. Sledge. And I call this first generic walk A. Let's take a look at this. And so this is basically a free walk cycle that comes with the figure, which is really cool. So my next steps will be to see if like Genesis or Victoria 4 or whatever poses work on this fella. If not, I've got the walk here. Everything else I could just hand animate for him. But yeah, just thought I'd let you know that, this guy's really cool. And I did not change his shaders at all, which is why he's really, really glossy. That's something that may have been set up just to make it look better in Poser. I do know that for a long time that was common for a lot of things. So let's take a look at that real quick. Let's turn on iRay and we'll see how glossy he is. And I'll just use perspective view. So I didn't save this yet. And now if we have Sledge selected, so we go to surfaces and we just select everything here. But let's take a look here. Let's just select his skin. And yeah, just his skin. Okay, and now let's move me out of the way here. There we go. All right. But you can tell when it says lighting model plastic up there. Well, and you can just kind of tell when you're not using an iRay shader. And that's fine. iRay does a nice job with these shaders, but you'll see that this is that thing. And instead of just dragging it right down to zero, which can look kind of cool, you get a nice matte look to it. Instead, just let your eyes help you walk this down, you know, and, get it so that there's at least some kind of a sheen on them. This guy, I think I want to have him, kind of, part way wet. I think just because he's so cool looking like that. All right. And then what I like to do is I convert it to iRay. Oops, let's do it to all of them. There we go. But now we can do things like, where is this? Oh, look at that's very few images in here, which is really nice. So this is Sledge C1. Okay. So I'm going to come here, crank that up to 90, and I'm going to drop Sledge C1 into there. Oh, wait, I didn't want that in there. I wanted that in here. And then I can play with this a little bit more. I could maybe add like a different color to them if I want. Adding to the different color to the translucency color. Or if I wanted to, I could. See, that's the bump channel. Yeah, let's take the bump one and put it in there. And so then we can do something like this and bring that lower. We could actually even put that in here too, to It'll make it less translucent where it's dark and more translucent where it's light. So we get this kind of thing going on, and then you can just adjust it like so. And now you've got some translucency going on. We might as well do that to his teeth. Looks like his teeth might be in that. But yeah, so that's just a quick down and dirty little way to take a look at guys like this. But I just wanted to make a call out to this wonderful fella because he looks really cool. And look at how lightweight he is in the scene. This is an I-ray. I don't get this usually, where you can just drag it along and see him like that. I can actually hit play. That's pretty cool. Awesome. Well, here's Dartan Beck at dartanbeck.com, and this guy is Sledge by Sixus1. Very cool. Very cool little guy there, and he's got a very complete package. Cheers.